The Las Vegas Raiders have just made another move to strengthen their secondary, and this one could bring a veteran presence, playoff experience, and some much-needed depth to the defensive backfield. On Sunday, the Silver and Black officially announced the signing of safety Terrell Edmonds, a name that NFL fans will recognize for his years of physical play and his time at the Pittsburgh Steelers. And let me tell you, Raider Nation, this move could be more important than it looks on the surface. Because if there's one thing we know about the 2025 Raiders under Pete Carroll, it's that defense wins games. And they're building a unit designed to hit hard, force turnovers, and play with swagger. Terrell Edmonds isn't just some camp body. He's a former first-round pick taken by the Steelers in 2018, and he's got over 100 NFL games under his belt. At 28 years old, he's still got the speed, range, and tackling ability that made him a starter in this league for multiple seasons. We're talking about a guy who has logged 465 combined tackles, 7.5 sacks, and 6 interceptions in his career. That kind of production doesn't just happen by accident. It comes from football IQ, hard work, and the kind of physical toughness that fits right into the Raiders' identity. And now, he's wearing silver and black. This signing also comes with a roster move. The Raiders waived wide receiver Seth Williams with an injury designation to make room for Edmonds on the 90-man roster. That's the reality of training camp. It's a constant shuffle of players as teams try to find the right mix before the regular season kicks off. But for Edmonds, this is a chance to prove that he can still make an impact in this league. His 2024 season was quiet, just 7 tackles and limited action split between the Jaguars and a return to the Steelers. But don't let those numbers fool you. This is a player with a track record of being reliable and durable, starting at least 14 games in each of his first 5 seasons. And here's why I think this is a sneaky good move. The Raiders' safety group just got deeper. Trayvon Moehrig has developed into a playmaker in the back end, and Marcus Epps brings leadership and versatility. But injuries happen, and depth is everything in the NFL. Edmonds gives the Raiders a veteran who can step in at any moment and play meaningful snaps without the coaching staff having to worry about a drop-off in communication or execution. You can't put a price tag on that. Another reason this move makes sense is Pete Carroll's defensive philosophy. Carroll loves having experienced, smart safeties who can handle multiple responsibilities, whether it's lining up in the box to stop the run, covering tight ends in the slot, or playing deep in coverage. Edmonds has done all of that throughout his career. He's not just a one-trick pony. He's versatile, and that's exactly the kind of player Carroll thrives with. Expect to see Edmonds working all over the field during training camp and preseason games. Let's also talk about the mentality Edmonds brings. The guy played in Pittsburgh for most of his career, and if there's one thing you know about the Steelers, it's that they breed tough, hard-nosed defenders who don't back down from anyone. That mindset fits perfectly with the Raiders' defensive identity, a unit that's being rebuilt to be aggressive, physical, and relentless. You can bet Edmonds will be bringing that energy to the locker room and the practice field from day one. From a roster-building perspective, this is also a low-risk, high-reward signing. Edmonds doesn't need to come in and be the star of the defense. The Raiders already have Max Crosby, Robert Spillane, and a loaded defensive line leading the charge. What Edmonds provides is stability and reliability in the secondary. If he plays well, he could easily earn a bigger role. If not, the team still has young safeties they're developing. This is exactly the type of veteran signing that good teams make late in the offseason. Now, I know some fans might be wondering, is Edmonds still the same player he was in his early Pittsburgh years? That's a fair question. The NFL is a young man's game, and 28 isn't exactly old, but it's also an age where some defensive backs start to lose a step. But here's the thing. Edmonds' game has never been purely about speed. He's been successful because of his instincts, tackling form, and ability to read quarterbacks. That's the kind of skill set that can keep a player valuable well into his 30s. Another angle worth considering is special teams. When veterans like Edmonds join a team in August, they often make an early impact on special teams while learning the defensive system. Edmonds has the size and athleticism to be a factor there, especially in kick coverage and punt units. Pete Carroll loves versatility, and if Edmonds can help in multiple phases of the game, his value skyrockets. Training camp is the perfect time for a player like Edmonds to re-establish himself. He's walking into a competitive defensive back room where nothing is guaranteed, but everything is earned. And that's when veterans often shine, when their backs are against the wall and they need to prove to coaches, teammates, and the rest of the league that they still belong. I expect him to hit the ground running and make some noise in joint practices and preseason matchups. The other thing to keep in mind is how much this Raiders defense has already improved on paper since last season. Between free agent additions, the NFL draft, and now veteran signings like this, Pete Carroll has a lot more tools to work with. And Edmonds, with his experience and versatility, gives Carroll one more chess piece to move around. The AFC West is stacked with elite quarterbacks, from Patrick Mahomes to Justin Herbert, and the Raiders will need every bit of coverage help they can get. When you think about it, the timing of this move makes perfect sense. We're in that final stretch before rosters get trimmed down to 53, and teams are evaluating every position group closely. By bringing Edmonds in now, the Raiders give him a full training camp and preseason to show what he can do, rather than trying to sign him mid-season when it's harder to integrate into a defense. Of course, no signing is guaranteed to work out, but Edmonds has the pedigree, the toughness, and the track record to make an impact. And for a Raiders team that has been laser-focused on improving its defense, this could end up being one of those under-the-radar moves that pays big dividends down the stretch. So Raider Nation, get ready to see number 34, or whatever number Edmonds ends up rocking, flying around the field, delivering hits, and bringing that veteran swagger to the secondary. It might not be the blockbuster signing that makes national headlines, but make no mistake, the Raiders just got tougher, deeper, and smarter on defense. And in a division where every game is a battle, that could be the difference between making the playoffs and falling short. One thing's for sure, Pete Carroll and this front office aren't done yet. If there's a chance to improve the roster, they're going to take it. And with Terrell Edmonds now in the fold, the Silver and Black's defense just got one more piece to the puzzle. Let's see how he makes his mark in the weeks to come.